There's a truth no one wants to face. Some of the people right next to you, those who seem kind, caring, and genuine, are nothing more than monsters hiding behind a flawless mask. They don't scream, they don't threaten, they don't bare their claws. Instead, they smile, they listen, they comfort you when you need it. And then, one day, you realize it was all just an act. The most dangerous people don't lurk in the shadows. They stand right in the light, wrapped in the warmth of friendship, hidden behind soothing words. They don't need to conceal themselves because they've mastered the art of turning kindness into a weapon, of planting seeds of doubt in your own mind. And by the time you finally see the truth, it might already be too late. Today, I'm sharing a lesson from Anthony Hopkins. 6 warning signs that the person next to you isn't who you think they are. After watching this video, you'll never see the world the same way again. These people exist all around the world, and you might not even realize it. Not because they hide in the shadows, but because they know how to transform themselves into the light. They don't need to conceal their presence. Their subtlety allows them to blend seamlessly into everything familiar. A perfectly timed smile, an earnest gaze, a gentle word. Each move is so meticulously crafted that even the wisest among us can be drawn into the illusion of kindness. But beware, because kindness, when wielded by someone with a hidden agenda, is no longer a virtue. It becomes a blade, sharp and precise, wrapped in the guise of goodwill. They memorize your every move, every habit, every joy, and every fear. They listen intently to what soothes you, what makes you open up, the moments that earn your trust. They don't steal your trust. They build it, slowly, methodically, with an unparalleled level of finesse. When you need a shoulder, they are there. When you hesitate, they reassure you. When you stumble, they reach out their hand. And over time, you stop questioning their presence in your life. But understand this, true kindness expects nothing in return. The moment someone seems too perfect, too well-timed, too right, ask yourself, what do they really want? What lies beneath that mask? Because sooner or later, that mask will fall. And when it does, the face beneath it will leave you stunned, horrified, and worst of all, blaming yourself. How did I not see it sooner? Most of us, however, don't want to admit we've been deceived. We resist the painful truth that someone we trusted, someone we believed to be good, was never who we thought they were. So, we look the other way. We ignore the little signs, a contradiction in their words, an uneasy action, a fleeting sense of discomfort. We make excuses, we convince ourselves, I'm probably just overthinking it. Because believing a beautiful lie is easier than facing a bitter truth. But never forget this, your instincts never lie. If a voice inside you whispers that something feels off, listen to it. If you feel hesitation before speaking, tension tightening in your chest, or even the briefest warning flashing in your mind saying be careful, do not ignore it. That is not paranoia, that is awareness. And the price of disregarding it could be far greater than you ever imagined. The reason lies slip so easily into our lives is because we want to believe in the good. We want to see the best in others. We convince ourselves that the friendship, the love, the loyalty they offer us is real. And that is precisely why evil never arrives in the form of a monster. Instead, it wears the disguise of understanding, generosity, and warmth. It becomes the very thing we crave the most, until we have nothing left to lose. And that is when we step into a darkness far more terrifying. Because what happens when you no longer serve a purpose to someone who never truly cared about you to begin with? What happens when a person who has spent their entire life mastering the art of deception is suddenly forced to reveal their true self? Watch closely. Observe how they react to the pain of others. Do they flinch? Do they hesitate, even for a moment? Or do their eyes remain cold, detached, indifferent, as if suffering were nothing more than a distant story, unworthy of concern. Because there are people who do not experience the world the way you do. They don't grieve loss. They don't wrestle with guilt. They don't agonize over the consequences of their actions. You will recognize them in the eerie silence, the heavy emptiness that lingers even without words. When someone cries before them, they do not reach out. When someone is drowning in despair, they do not feel comfort. They may pretend to, but it is always just an act. And if you pay attention, if you dare to look past the illusion, you will realize that their kindness has limits. It is never infinite. It is never selfless. Their kindness exists only as long as you serve a purpose to them. And the moment that purpose fades, the moment they no longer need to uphold the facade, they turn cold, like an iceberg adrift in an endless ocean. Without hesitation, they discard every promise, every tender moment, everything that once made you believe they were different. Because to them, none of it was ever real. It was merely a tool, a means to an end, and once it no longer serves its function, it is cast aside without a second thought. Some people believe that everyone has a conscience, that eventually guilt will catch up to those who do wrong. But that is nothing more than a comforting delusion. Because in this world, there are those who feel no remorse. They do not lose sleep at night, haunted by the harm they have inflicted on others. If they ever pause, it is not out of regret. It is out of pride in their ability to control, to manipulate, to move through life untethered by emotions or compassion. But do not mistake this for confidence. This is not the self-assurance of someone who understands their worth. This is the hollow emptiness of someone who feels nothing. And someone like that is capable of anything. This is what makes them dangerous. Not the lies they tell, not the fake kindness they display, not even the stories they weave. It is their absolute indifference, a complete severance from human emotion, a chilling absence of empathy that leaves only a void where a soul should be. And if you think you can change them, that your love, your sincerity can awaken something within them, that is nothing more than a beautiful illusion. But don't worry, because you are not truly lost. The one thing they cannot control, the one thing they cannot twist or manipulate, is your awareness. The very moment you see them for who they really are, the second you stop making excuses for their cruelty, the instant you recognize that their kindness was nothing more than a performance, you have already stripped them of their most powerful weapon. Because evil does not thrive through confrontation, it thrives through blindness. It grows in the excuses we make, in the doubts we dismiss, in the faith we continue to give even when all evidence stands against it. Evil needs you to look away. It needs you to second-guess yourself, to believe that your instincts are nothing more than imagination. But you know better. You always have. The real question is, do you have the courage to listen to yourself? Some people do not need to argue, threaten, raise their fists, or scream, because they don't have to. Their power is far more subtle, far more dangerous. They don't impose their will on you. They do something far more terrifying. They make you doubt yourself. And once that happens, once you start questioning your own reality, you have already fallen into their trap. Do you know someone like that? Someone who always manages to twist the past just enough to make you wonder if you remembered it wrong? Someone who denies things they once said, swearing it never happened, insisting that you misunderstood, no matter how clear the moment was at the time. At first, it's small things, a forgotten detail here, a minor correction there. But slowly, a pattern begins to emerge. Suddenly, you find yourself explaining things that shouldn't need explaining. You start doubting moments you were once certain of. You feel the ground beneath you shifting, but you don't know. Why? Because the truth hasn't changed, only the way they tell it has. There are people who don't need to strike you to break you. They dismantle you from the inside, piece by piece, until you no longer trust yourself. You could stand before them with proof, with a crystal clear memory of what happened, and yet they will look you straight in the eyes and tell you that you're wrong. They will smile as they do it. They will say you're overreacting, that you're making a big deal out of nothing, that you're creating problems where there are none. And when those words are repeated often enough, when you are exhausted from constantly defending your own reality, something dangerous begins to happen. You start to believe them. You begin to wonder if maybe they are right. Maybe you are just overthinking it. Maybe you are the problem. And once that doubt takes root, they don't even need to control you anymore. You will do it for them. You will hesitate before questioning them. You will dismiss your own intuition. You will silence yourself before they ever need to, because the goal was never to prove you wrong. The goal was to make you doubt yourself, and once they have achieved that, they have already won. And that is why they fear clarity more than anything else. The truth is the one thing they cannot twist, cannot manipulate, cannot control. If you refuse to play their game, if you stand firm in reality, if you stop allowing them to rewrite the past, they lose their power. The moment you stop explaining yourself to someone who never intended to understand you, the moment you stop seeking validation from someone who thrives on your confusion, that is the moment they realize they no longer control you. And to them, that is unacceptable. Because for people like this, watching someone drown in suffering isn't just satisfying, it's essential. For them, pain is not a tragedy. It is a choice, a deliberate, calculated decision. Some people don't just endure suffering, they enjoy it. If you've ever encountered someone like this, you'll understand. You'll feel their emptiness, the chilling absence of empathy. You'll see it in the way they seem to gain energy from your despair, in the way they smirk when someone else falls apart. They don't have to strike you down themselves. Their power doesn't come from direct action, but from what they create, from the chaos they set into motion. They only need to give a slight push, manipulate just a little, and then step back to watch as everything collapses. These people cannot tolerate peace. Peace doesn't give them control, power, or the sense of superiority they crave. So, they create storms where there should be calm, sow tension where there should be trust, ignite doubt where there should be certainty. And when everything finally shatters, they sit back and watch, completely unfazed, because they are the ones who orchestrated it all. If you think this is just cruelty, you're wrong. This is something far colder. Cruelty can be impulsive, a burst of emotion, a loss of control. But this is strategy. A slow, calculated dismantling of someone's trust, stability, and peace of mind. So what do you do when you realize you're dealing with someone like this? When you finally see that the person beside you isn't just indifferent, but has actively worked to destroy you, you do not make excuses. You do not convince yourself they didn't mean it. You do not believe they will change. They have always known exactly what they were doing. And the more you try to make them understand your pain, the more you give them what they want, your suffering. Because to them, pain isn't a tragedy, it's entertainment. And the only way to win is to refuse to be broken. Trust is fragile. It can take years to build, seconds to shatter, and a lifetime to rebuild. It is the foundation of every relationship. But to some people, trust holds no value. They do not experience it the way you do. To them, it is not something to cherish. It is a tool, a means of access, a way to get what they want. They do not earn your trust because they value it. They earn it because they understand its power. They will say whatever you need to hear, look you in the eye, promise loyalty, make you feel safe. But when trust no longer benefits them, they will betray you without hesitation. There will be no guilt, no second thoughts, no regret. Because to them, loyalty is not a virtue, it's a weakness. They do not see people as companions, as partners, as loved ones. They see pawns. Some betray for personal gain, staying as long as it serves them. But the moment a better opportunity appears, they will discard you like an object that no longer fits their plan. But then, There are those who betray for no reason at all. They don't do it for profit, for advantage. They do it just to watch you break, to see how you crumble when you realize that someone you trusted, someone you believed in, was never truly on your side. When the pain runs too deep, they feel no remorse. If they do, it's nothing more than a fleeting satisfaction, carefully hidden beneath a mask of false regret. An act so perfect it makes you doubt yourself. Because betrayal isn't just a single act. It's a wound that can change you forever. It doesn't just take away your trust. It shatters the way you see the world, turning warm memories bitter and making you question whether you were ever truly valued. But betrayal says nothing about you. It doesn't mean you were naive, foolish, or blind. It doesn't mean you were weak for trusting. It only means they were empty enough to throw it all away. Betrayal isn't an accident, it's a choice. And once someone has chosen to betray, they will do it again, and again, and again. When a person betrays without consequence, they learn just how easily trust can be manipulated, how quickly loyalty can be exploited. They become addicted, and those who live by betrayal will never stop. For them, it's never about love, friendship, or connection. It's about power. They don't seek harmony. They crave dominance, evident in the way they move, the way they take up space, the way they speak as if their words are law. They don't ask for respect, they demand it. And if they can't have it, they will take it through manipulation, intimidation, control, whatever it takes. To them, submission is the only currency that matters. They don't want equals. They don't need partners. They want power, and they will stop at nothing to get it. They will wear you down, little by little, until your choices no longer feel like your own, until you hesitate before speaking, before acting, before even thinking. They will erode your independence until, one day, you look in the mirror and no longer recognize yourself. Because that is the goal. Not just obedience, but complete surrender. And the most dangerous part? They don't always take power by force. Some will use threats, violence, oppression, but the truly dangerous ones don't have to. They make you willingly give it up. They make you believe it was your choice all along, that you are the one in control, while they strip away your power, piece by piece. They will test you, push boundaries, see how far they can go before you push back. And if you make one excuse for them, if you let one thing slide, if you convince yourself that it was just a misunderstanding, that they didn't mean it, that they will change, they will know they've won. Because the greatest trick of those who hunger for power is making you believe that surrender was never their idea, it was yours. There is only one way to stop them. You don't reason with them. You don't beg them. You don't try to explain, because they have always known exactly what they were doing. You take back what is yours. You walk away. You reclaim your mind, your choices, your life. Because the one thing a truly cruel person fears, the one thing they cannot control, is someone who refuses to be controlled. If you recognize someone like this in your life, don't ignore it. Don't make excuses. Don't wait for them to change. The truth has always been there, waiting for you to be brave enough to see it. Walking away isn't a weakness. It's taking back your power. If this video was helpful, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you for watching. Believe in yourself, stand your ground, and most importantly, stay free.